Hello, Screen Demons, and welcome to the Screens from the Basement podcast with Sam and Casey. I'm one of your creepy co-hosts. I am Casey.
I'm Sam the Damned, and let's get screaming.
Let's get screaming as we are back in the basement with special guests, writer, director, producer Todd Rohal, and producer, actor Tipper Newton to chat about their balls to the wall, X-rated horror comedy, Fuck My Son, that is hitting select theaters nationwide after a festival run this fall, including a screening in Omaha, Nebraska on January 2nd. What a way to ring in the new year.
Fuck My Son follows Sandy and her daughter Bernice as they are kidnapped by a deranged elderly mother, played by Robert Longstreet, who forces Sandy to, fuck her son. Please welcome the team behind the film, Todd and Tipper, to the show. Welcome, guys. Woo!
Thank you. Tipper, do it. Make the fireworks.
I did.
Go with
it's not working.
Yeah.
There it goes. Yeah.
Shout out to Riverside FM for the effects.
Well, shout out to you guys for being on here and for sharing this, like we were talking about before the show, wild and crazy ass movie, Fuck My Son. So excited to share this with people because it is easily the craziest movie we've ever talked about on this show, Sam. Right? 100%.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever quite covered a movie like this on the show. I don't think there is a movie to cover like this on the show other than this. So
no, there is not.
You guys typically do like dramas from the 70s and stuff, like, and then this was like, okay, yeah.
You know,
we cover a ton of like Hallmark Christmas movies, and this was not that at all.
Last week was Driving Miss Daisy.
But no, we're excited to chat about this movie. We both had a chance to watch it. We liked it as much as you can like a fucked up movie like this, sitting alone in your house, watching it on a laptop like a bunch of weirdos like we are. But we recommend people watch this in the theater with an audience if you can.
Yes.
But our first question for you guys is, this is based on a comic book by Johnny Ryan of the same name. How does this movie, Fuck My Son, go from this little indie comic to feature-length film playing in theaters with an X rating?
Well, I really have to thank Netflix for, being a company that's really keeping movies alive and supporting things like this. Like without them, we wouldn't have subversive cinema or transgressive art at all. But this was all raised. That's not true. So anybody that's, this was completely just us raising all the money ourselves. Just say, like everybody's sacrificing and working on it because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What is the drive behind this? I think just wanting to give back to the world that gave me a lot of really great messed up things in my youth and in subsequent years. But this was all like done outside of any kind of corporate environment, any kind of like even any production company. Like we didn't even go to a production company to ask them to do this. We just did it. And it's the fifth feature I've made. Tipper's made a bunch of her own films, and been parts of many, many more and TV shows. Like we all know how to do this, but it's just a time. 2025 is not a great time for movies. The last 20 years have been, I don't know if you guys have been watching movies lately, but they're not good. And so we just wanted to make something that would be interesting, and hope that the world agreed. TBD still, but this, yeah. Tipper, what do you think?
About what?
I don't know.
About Netflix, apparently. No, about, I think a big part is, how did you get involved with this project?
Yeah.
How does Todd approach you with this movie called Fuck My Son and saying, yeah, I'm going to do this with you?
Well, Todd and I have known each other for like almost 20 years, something like that. And so, I'm a fan of his movies too, in addition to that. And so it's like, I also know like his sense of humor and what sort of his, things he likes. And so, well, first I read this script as a friend. He was like, oh, I'm working on this thing. And I knew who Johnny Ryan was already. And I was like, oh, I want to read this script. I want to see what you're working on. And so I read it and thought it was a lot of fun. And then Todd went to some other people. I was trying to help him come up with people who could be in it. And he asked a couple people and they were like, no, I don't think I'm interested in this. And then
That was they made it through the title page.
and then yeah, one day, and Todd had been like keeping me updated on like how stuff was going with it. And then one day he was like, I was just thinking, like, what if you were in the movie? Would you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. Cause like I don't know, the way that he wrote it or whatever, and since I know it's Todd's stuff, it's like I could kind of picture in my head like exactly what it was going to be, exactly what the tone was going to be. So I could understand maybe somebody reading it and being like, what is this? Is this like torture porn or something? But I'm reading it and I'm like, no, this is like a fun, like crazy comic booky, like, whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys also like you went for an X rating. The X rating is very much like part of the movie. Like you open acknowledging the X rating, and probably like honestly the opening might be my favorite gag in the whole thing. I loved it. But like the X rating has pretty much disappeared. Like you don't see it anymore. But you guys like are wearing this proudly. So like why an X rating? And why like why are you trying to push this in theaters with an X rating, and what challenge has that presented you?
It's funny that the history of the X rating is so. The more you can dig into this, the more fun and interesting it gets, because it was like part of the originally you had the Hays Code, which is back in the 20s, 30s when that first came out, and that's what you can show and what you can't show in movies in order for them to pass certification to be shown in theaters. And at that time, it was like a lot of limitations on sex, violence, nudity. You could not show interracial relationships. You could not show homosexual relationships. You couldn't even hint at that stuff, discuss it. There's like you can find all those the code books online and read about them. It's pretty fascinating. But then the MPAA came along and changed that once things went out of fashion with the Hays Code, which I can't really tell you where that transition period was right off the bat. But the X rating was part of it. Adults only was what it meant. It did not mean porno at the time. It meant like the R rating, was a certain restricted for people, and then anything else after that, anything that was X was really adult material, but like adult subject matter, adult, just things that weren't for kids. Then in the 70s, late 70s, there was like a porno chic era, it was called, in Manhattan, where like Deep Throat and Devil and Miss Jones and Emmanuel movies came out, and it became like cool to go see a porno movie. And like the New York Times was reviewing porno movies at this time, and those were X-rated. Now the thing was that the MPAA didn't trademark that rating of X, so other porno makers saw that as an opportunity, and they started doing triple X and double X and whatever, exploiting that and just using it. And that's when it became synonymous with, pornography. It just went out of style. They stopped rating things or if you got an X rate, or theater change, I should say, started saying, we will not show anything that's X rated. You cannot do this. So like Midnight Cowboy was X rated, Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song was X rated. There were a lot of movies that were still getting this rating. And they were basically banned from theaters. And there's a lot of stories within that whole world, but that made everyone you couldn't get an X rating or your movie was dead. So everyone had to basically fight to get an R rating. The MPA rebranded and took the NC-17, but theater chains still were like, nope, we're not going to do that. So basically, the X rating's up for grabs for anybody that wants it. So, like, when movies come out as unrated, they're still got this fear, and some of the rules still persist at, like, Regal Cinemas and stuff, that they won't show something with an X rating or an NC-17. So even if you self-brand yourself as X-rated, like, there's this fear that you can't show your movie, that it's going to be held up somewhere. And we even did that when we were putting this together. We were applying for grants, and they're like, well, your movie's X-rated, so we can't give you something. And it's like, we call it that. Like, that's just a name where you know, and it's like, well, there's rules, you know, and it's like, whose rules, you know? So like, we really started to find ourselves running into this a lot, and I loved it. I loved it. And it was like this idea that, like, whose rules are we following? How outdated are they? What system even is this? Why does anyone give a shit about the rating system right now? And I was like, what is the last NC-17 movie that came out when we were putting this together? And it was Blonde on Netflix. It's like Netflix had the NC-17 rating. So it's like all of this is just so mixed up and weird. And I loved the idea that to make a movie that's forbidden. Um, the title right away is like, everyone's like, well, you can't sell this to Hulu or whatever. And it's like, okay, like, what if we made a movie that we don't sell to Hulu? You know, like, what other options are out there? And the options are not much, you know, but like, if we continue to set those rules where you can't make a movie like this, you can't have a title like this, you can't do, you know, like, we keep starting to, you know, put self-inflicted rules, and that's, you know, we get into a repressive society that's based off of fear. Johnny had the same problem when he published the comic. His publisher, Fantagraphics, who puts out a lot of stuff, a ton of stuff, put out all his stuff, was like, we can't publish a book with this title because our customers will be mad. And Johnny was like, why? How do you know they'll be mad? And they're like, we just kind of feel like they will be. And it's like, there it is right there. It's like, so everyone across the board, you know, it sets a precedent. And you know, so that this movie really kind of, for me, became like, what can we do? What should we do? That kind of says, yeah, like, I didn't know you were allowed to do this. I didn't know you could make a movie like this. And that to me felt very important for 2025. And some of those things I'm learning are too far for people, you know, that are still in there. But I think that's what the X rating means. Like, this is not allowed. And the things that you think aren't allowed might be more shocking than you think.
Yeah, and I think that brings up an interesting question of the model you choose to roll this movie out, because like you said, Hulu's not going to pick this up. Netflix isn't going to want to put out this movie. So you go the festival route, and you're touring with the movie. You know, again, we mentioned Omaha is playing this January 2nd. Tipper, you're going to be there. So what was that idea of, like, how do you present this to theaters? Do you go directly to theater chains to say, here's the pitch, here's the idea, this is what we want to do? How does rolling this movie out with an X rating in 2025 even happen?
Well, this is the good thing. A lot of the people that still run theaters know the history of, like, how theaters were kept alive. So, like, you know, I just showed this in Atlanta last week, the week before that in Seattle, or we could even start where we started at the IFC Center. And these were theaters that, you know, have been around for a long time. IFC Center was originally the Waverly. And movies have gone through periods where, you know, television comes out, radio comes out, video games come out, and there's a dip in, everyone thinks the theaters, you know, they hit a point where they're not going to be able to survive. Theaters turned into porno theaters, and that supported the X rating, and exploitation movies kept theaters alive. So, like, even standing in the theater just 2 days ago that we screened this in, it was only still there because they went through a pornography phase. And I think that so the idea, and even like lesser than that, like exploitation movies or sexploitation movies, just anything that felt edgy to bring people in. That's why we still have movie theaters right now. So a lot of the theater owners, like, they just don't balk at that. They've got, like, that proudly, like, the Plaza Theater in Atlanta sells shirts when it used to be an adult theater. So it's like, I don't think they balk at that controversy with, like, the content. It's sort of invited. It's like, if you look at Last Temptation of Christ, when that came out, like, there was so much protest and so much pressure to not let people see that movie, and it only fueled it. You know, like, America came and stood up for itself, and they all got in line and watched it, to just say that, yeah, who are you to tell us that we can't have something? So we haven't had no pushback from the theaters based on the content or what it is. They get it. And luckily, IFC Center, a wonderful woman there named Caitlin, who just knew Johnny's comics, right away said yes to this movie. They held it over 5 weeks there. Because, like, that's where Rocky Horror really broke out. That's where, you know, within that same world, you know, Pink Flamingos and El Topo and all these midnight movies derived from, in that same room, you know. So, like, to them, I think like for most, they can draw a connection to it. There's been a couple scaredy cats, let's say Cleveland, that won't show this because they're too sensitive. But like, I think there really is like a knowledge of that it doesn't necessarily have to be explained. I thought I would have to really, really, really explain this to a lot of people, but it's thankfully like like the people that kind of feel like, oh, we've been through this, we know, and we're also making a pledge to keep it in theaters to the detriment of the movie, and we don't make money really doing that. So it's not a great great, you can see this is why Guillermo del Toro's like, everyone should go to theaters, my movie's on Netflix. It's like having to talk out of both sides of their mouth, and it's like I just felt like, yeah, we should pledge to do that, like keep it there, because if we put this in other formats, it's going to be dead in the water right away. So why don't we, like, I think more filmmakers need to be, now with the Netflix takeover of Warner Brothers, people are starting to stand up and say, okay, what can I do? And it's like, well, get best time to plant a tree is today, all that kind of stuff. But like, yeah, we really should be supporting these kind of things in all aspects.
That's amazing. So in dealing with like the subject matter that you also have a child actor on set. Tipper, you play a mother to a very young girl. What was that like having a child on set on this movie, and like how did you go about like filming that with those, like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, sensitive scenes with her? Um, yeah, how did that work?
Well, Kinsey, who plays the little girl, is amazing, and she was like so excited about just all the gross gore stuff. I mean, like being in a cage and stuff, and she loved it. And we'll talk about this more, but she wasn't, we shot her stuff like separately. We just shot her stuff, and then she was never like seeing any of the like bad stuff at all. And like there was even Todd made a different script for her that took out everything, so it's like she probably didn't even know, probably barely made sense. um
I was about to say, what was her script about 3 pages long?
Yeah, it was just a paragraph.
Yeah.
Mommy, help, help, help. Head blows up. Yeah.
but she was super fun I mean, I think we just had a great time hanging out with her because she was so game for anything, and like just joking around, and me and her would just make fun of Todd the whole time. And
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, did you feel like it was like difficult to like conceal that stuff, Todd? Or I feel like it was pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, Kinsey's parents, luckily, it's like her mom, stepmom, and dad were all so sweet. And there's something special within that family, where there's like a trust in Kinsey. She's clearly like a very smart, intelligent kid that knows what she wants to do. And she's got all kinds of interests, like she's a cheerleader. She's, like, she's making, I don't know. Yeah, she's
She
like,
plays tennis. She's like she acts in like the haunted house every year because she loves like screaming at
Yeah.
people.
but it's like they're pretty religious folks. They live in Abilene, Texas, and like her dad's in the Air Force, and like very intimidating man. And it was like, I don't know what it was, what conversations they had, but it was like they were always welcome on set. And we Tipper and I talked to them, you know, once we, asked if, Kinsey could do this, to explain what this movie was and all of that. And yeah, it's just like, I think there was just like a trust that they luckily gave us, that this would all be okay, and an openness to what it was, and how it wasn't going to be something that Kinsey could go tell her friends about and stuff. So it was, but we promised it was going to be a very fun summer camp experience. And I think that was delivered. It was so goofy and funny, and like a casting director in Austin told me, like, kids, when they come in for auditions, all they want to do is get murdered and, die and be chased by zombies, like that is what I did when I was a kid. I'm sure you guys had things like that. Like, we love that shit. And then they get cast in a drama where it's like, your father and I are, going to split up, and like, you need to cry, like, we need to see tears in your eyes, little kids. And they're like, yeah, we don't want to do this, can I be murdered, please? So when you ask a child to crawl inside an oven and scream and act like their head's blowing up or something, they love it, and they're really good at it because like they have imagination still, and no one's told them that this will make their parents upset. Well, maybe that does influence them. I mean, like, this is going to make your parents very upset.
I was about to say, that was a big influence on me.
I mean,
If
it
it
didn't
made
upset
mom
her
and
parents,
dad
but like
upset, yeah.
a lot of other parents were so disturbed by it, and it's like it's fake. They're fake. It's like so, but it's fun to play that against people that have kids, and I don't have kids, but to tell them that we hate children and that's why we're doing it. It's like, it's fun to be like a child hater. I think in 2025, it's like you can't fight back on that one.
Well, speaking of things my parents would hate, both Sam and I were obviously from the Midwest. We're VeggieTale kids. Both of us were. And you have my favorite part of this movie is the take on that with the Meaty Mates characters and her seeing those characters. Like, I haven't read the comic book. Was that part of the comic book? Was that something you introduced? Like, how did you come up with those characters then?
Like, when I was reading the comic, it was like ideas were just like sparking everywhere, and that's why I thought I had to make it. So it was like I imagined, like, I was like Bernice in the comic. There's not much to her story in there, and I mean, the comic's fairly short, but it was like, this is something that would be very fun to have, like, in a Christian way of like explaining death and the horrors of reality and stuff, and like, how does the Bible tell us that? And like, it's like, if a child dies, it's like, well, they're off to a better place now and all that kind of stuff. Or if they've witnessed horror, there's always some kind of excuse to why it's okay. And so, yeah, I thought, oh, like, VeggieTales is great for that. And then I thought, what about an Adkins-based Christian characters? That like a little more like meat-based, weight loss based. And then came up with them. Yeah, so it was like just a way to kind of march her off to the other side of having these characters being like, it's all okay, we got your back. It's all going to be okay. And those were all voiced by Tipper, which is also, I should say, no one's.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just Meaty Mates, my side job.
I would totally watch a Meaty Mates episode.
I think it might be a more lucrative money stream if I actually did just make a Christian thing and sell kids on eating meat. Like, it's definitely a better idea. If you want to just make money, that's the way to go.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they were incredible. It was something Sam and I were both talking to each other about. So it was the Meaty Mates in it. Yeah. But also, you have on top of them, you get to play with some special makeup effects. And I don't want to, because you don't show anything in the trailer that you guys have out. So I want to leave that open to what people are going to see in this movie. But Tipper, you do get to play in the special effects world with some fun special effects that some of the characters have.
Fun,
what was it like on set working with those prosthetics?
It was hard. I kept having to remind myself, like, oh, I gotta be grossed out. I gotta be real grossed out here. Just because, I mean, you're seeing it and you're like, whoa, that looks cool. And like, oh, how'd they do that? And Steve, who plays the character of Fabian, he would be sitting there, and sometimes you'd forget that Steve was even in there, because he's just like, also that face, it's like he couldn't make emotion with that face, really. And so it was like stuck in a permanent frown. And you would just be like, is Steve okay? Oh my God. Steve, are you okay? Or you would just like forget and put your script on top of him or something like that. So it was pretty fun. I haven't really gotten to work that much with like special effects stuff, so it's pretty cool to see sort of the behind the scenes movie magic of how it all comes together.
But if you saw us shooting it, Oh, sorry, Tipper, go ahead.
Oh no, no. I was just saying in like, oh, just the whole toolkit of being like, oh, need some more slime? Here, let's throw a glob of slime on him, or like all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like if you saw us shooting some of that stuff, the illusion goes away real fast. So there was a lot of worry of like, is this going to be gross enough? And then when it's cut together, your mind fills in so much stuff. But yeah, it's pretty funny just to see the it's still very kid-like, of creating this stuff. But and that stuff was all created by Robert Kurtzman, who's like a absolute pro and legend in the effects world. So it was all set up, but it was so fun to see them kind of pull out an idea, or put a penis on the end of a drill with a wire on it and press it and it spins around all weird. And it's like, okay, that's a great idea, I mean, he's just so good at that stuff. That it's complicated and smart, but yet simple and like just very effective at the same time. So you're very much in awe of that, watching them put all these things together, and while you're watching that, losing the illusion that anything about this is gross. The only thing that I think I gagged on in set was when Tipper pulls off the diaper and there's just a piece of shit in there. My wife made that piece of shit out of a candy bar, and it's like I watched her do that, and I was over there, and it's like that was really fun. But still, when it comes off and you put it in a diaper, I gagged on set. That was the only time I was like, Jesus. I
remember when you were like, when she was first putting the candy bar in there, and you're like, you need to make it look more like it's not a candy bar. Mush it up, because you could see some other. The caramel
it was
or
like,
whatever,
like on a Milky Way, on the top of it, it's got that little swirl, and it was still in there. And I was like, oh no, it looks like. So Laura had to mash it up more in her hand, because like in college we used to do that. Just take like a little Debbie brownie, and if you mashed it and it made like these knuckle imprints, it looked like a piece of shit. And we would put them in the toilet at parties and then stand outside and see if anybody. This was how we did it. But that was like our effects work back in the day. We did stuff like that. So it was like, like this is from experience. So you make a fake piece of shit. And also I don't speak in like that to my wife with that accent. But in that tone, yes.
Yeah. Hey babe. Mush up the candy
piece
bar.
Of shit. The piece of shit's a dead giveaway. Get back in there.
The sound design also goes a long ways in that too. The flies buzzing when he first gets wheeled in is like, that was the part where I was just like, you hear flies buzzing and you can smell that person, and I was just like, oh nope.
Yeah.
Then the diaper was especially the part that had me like, I retched a little bit. It's hard to hit my gag reflex at this point because I'm pretty desensitized to most stuff, but your movie did it. So congratulations, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, some people came last weekend that thought they were actually seeing a porno movie. They were, because I made an advertisement that said like, that you can win tickets to see this like a romantic getaway type thing, and it was like clear. I was like, it's called Fuck My Son, rated X. Go see, you can win tickets, change your partner, and rekindle your relationship. That was taken literally by multiple people. And Tipper, I haven't told you this since it happened, but thinking that hey, honey, let's go spark up our relationship and see a porno movie. Okay, and I'll go through that. And then it's like a woman, pulling off this disgusting thing's diaper. And it's like, and so people were leaving during that. And it's like putting all of that math together of like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, there's no penetrative sex, no penetrative sex that you're going to see in this. There will be more diaper shit. This is a porno made by your like little kid, like your kids. Like this is going to earn its X, but not that way. Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
That is so false advertising that was not intended. Yeah. So I guess there is an opportunity to actually make a porno and release it for couples. They do. So there is an audience apparently.
Yeah. Apparently with the same title too. Freaks.
Yeah. And all still with a woman holding a gun pointed in your face. Okay, we're still in.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
a lot
I
of
don't know.
steps to get to that, and then to meet that disappointment is rough.
Maybe people are just turned on by Robert Longstreet and drag. I don't know, you know?
I don't blame. Yeah, he can be a pretty woman. Yeah, I mean he is 85 in this or something, you know. So if we had aged him down, I think he could still pull it off. Still got it.
Well, we have one last question. It's going to tie into that. So if anyone's out there listening and wants to go watch this movie in theaters, warning, it's not a porno, so don't expect that. But if you are, if you two, Tipper and Todd, are going to watch this movie in theaters with a crowd, what movie would you pair with it in a double feature to watch either right after or right before as like the ultimate fuck my son double feature?
Very curious on this answer, to be honest.
I have a lot of ideas for this. So I'll let Tipper go first.
But I don't know. Oh my gosh.
Well, I can start. I've got some. So
You
we are
start.
actually going to be doing double features with this. So I'm glad
Oh,
you said
hell
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have screenings booked all through January, February, and then starting, I think, March, April, we're going to be doing double feature stuff with another movie called Dance Freak that's by this pair of filmmakers that they're just starting to put it on the road now. Alan Resnick and Robbie Ratcliffe, and they had done stuff on Adult Swim as well as Tipper and I had, and they made this movie that's more of an Eraserhead vein, but so funny and so crazy. I would love to do it with that. I would love to pair it with an actual like Doris Wishman movie, which I use some of her footage in there, but she has a movie called Dildo Heaven. She had a movie. She passed away 20 years ago, but she made when she was in her, I think, early 90s, and it's real good. And I would love to pair it with something like, and there's so many things, like in a midnight movie vein where it's like, how do you want to go out? You want to keep going with this, or do you guys want to take it down a notch, you know? And I was just talking to some other folks about this movie, Daft Punk's movie Electroma, which is a great midnight movie. So it's like, if you want to, yeah, where are we? You know, you can kind of gauge it with the audience. Like, where do you want to take this? But like, and I know what you're getting at with this question of like, what other kind of like, what is kind of would be on par if you want to keep, let's just say you want to keep the spirit going, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're
Yeah.
kind of?
Yeah. Let's keep the, you're starting Fuck My Son at midnight. What's playing at 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
I feel like Fuck My Son would have to be the 2 a.m. one.
No,
I'm thinking
I
double
mean,
feature Fuck My Son twice in a row.
yeah. Let's do it again. I think there's a movie called Thundercrack that was made by Kurt McDowell, and it is so fun. It's written by George Kuchar, whom I love as a filmmaker, and he wrote this stuff, but it's so gross, and like I would love to watch that with an audience because it's so foul. It's from the 70s. You can get it on Blu-ray, Thundercrack. I would watch that with this if I really, really wanted to push it. Or Forbidden Zone. If you like the Richard Elfman movie that's like that might be more in the vein of the disgusting world, but less, yeah. But it's got so much weird shit going on in it. It's got musical numbers and all this kind of great stuff in it.
Yeah.
I
I
think
just
also
watched Forbidden Zone for the first time a few weeks ago. It's amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where'd you find it at? What was led you to it?
Well, a friend of the show recommended it to me, and it was
Okay.
very on brand for him. And I found it on Canopy through my local library.
Oh, right, great.
So
shout
Did you
out
watch it in
to
color?
South Dakota Library.
yeah,
Thank you, librarians. I mean that is true. No. Did you watch the color version or the black and white version? The colorized.
the colorized
okay.
version. So I know that there were a few things that got changed from the initial cut, from what I've been told.
But I think because they shot it in black and white, and then it is colorized like Ted Turner colors it, which I love that about
Yeah.
it. Like it's like digitally colorized, which everybody hated at the time, but man, it's cool looking now.
Yeah, it's a wild movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that one would get canceled in the first 5 minutes for
Yes.
content. And even in the 70s. But yeah, like that, yeah, he's pulling from so many great things. He's got the Kipper kids in it. Those guys, they're in UHF too, those two boxers that go make that's Bette Midler's husband. And I think Bette Midler has an actress that's daughter now that's famous that I don't know about.
Okay.
Do you know her, Tipper?
I know she had a daughter who made a movie.
That's it.
I'm forgetting what it was called. It was like playing festivals, I think, like 2 years ago.
Yes, and she's in somebody else's thing. I apologize for not remembering because like she's fascinating. But her dad is her mom's Bette Midler, whatever. But her dad is one of the Kipper kids, which is so like I love them. The other one of the Kipper kids has passed away since, but they're true weirdo performance artists. Yeah, and what a dream to be living in the 70s and doing weird shit like that.
Hey, you're living in 2025 doing some weird shit. Tipper, do you have a double feature option besides watching the movie back to back?
Come on, Tipper, you know weird stuff.
Yeah. I guess the first thing that comes to mind, because I feel like maybe tonally it's similar, would be like Texas Chainsaw 2. I think you could do maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
hell
then
yeah.
it's like, with a double feature, sometimes you want things to be a little. I'm trying to think of something like, that maybe would be similar, but like, why don't we do like Fuck My Son and Angst, something like that. You could.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Step it more like, yeah, if you thought this was bad, like, here's what it's like if it was played, like, for real.
Like real,
that movie.
yeah.
Fucked.
Real dark.
I mean, or you could say, like, Irreversible, but, like, that would be, like, trying to lead people into Irreversible as a comedy, which I do not endorse or support. But, man, have you guys seen Angst? It's a Austrian movie?
Oh, it's great.
I have heard of it, though, yeah.
I have also
really
heard
good.
of it, and I would probably watch it at 2 a.m. That's probably the best way to watch it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good idea to even to ever watch that movie post 20. It's fucked up. That is truly like, but it's shot like it's crazy how it's shot.
Yeah, it's like so well done. It's
Yeah. Well,
Check
we
it out.
might
Shout
have
out
to
to
check it out, yeah.
Get it on Canopy, brought to you by the South Dakota South Ranch.
Yeah, get on it, Omaha. Show Angst, show Irreversible, show Andy Warhol's Bad, where they throw a baby out a window and it explodes. Like, Omaha loves this stuff. Will Omaha like this movie? Because they've already written to us and been like, it's not selling tickets, and it's like, well, it's Omaha at midnight. I don't know. Is there hope out there?
I don't know.
What are you guys expecting?
I don't know. My friend is telling her friends and is putting together an unofficial pre-party at the bar next door. So
that's
come
good.
on over. But I have no idea. I have no idea how many people are going to show up.
That's a good idea. Can I advertise it? There's a party before with Tipper Newton there.
Yeah, my friend was going to make a flyer. So, yeah, let me ask her the details. I don't know the details. We'll find it, listeners, and then check the Fuck My Son Instagram page for all information.
Hell yeah.
Listen, I'm going to try to rally some South Dakotans to make our 2-hour drive down to Omaha for this.
That
So
would be
we're going to
amazing.
try to go down for this. Because, again, it's a holiday weekend. Why the fuck not go take a trip to Omaha and watch this with all of Omaha's weirdos? So,
wait, where are you in South Dakota?
We're in Sioux Falls, which is like 2 hours straight north of Omaha.
My
I'm
friend lived
actually
in...
about an hour closer. I'm in Vermilion, so yeah.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend lived in Brookings, South Dakota, and there's a company there called Daktronics, and they make all the big jumbotrons.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he told me there's a guy there that does he runs Times Square, like all the jumbotrons for Times Square for New Year's.
Oh my god.
So like when you're all those people in New York going crazy and watching the countdown and stuff, it's just a dude out in the middle of nowhere in an office building being like boop, 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 and then he's making everybody across the entire country on the East Coast go crazy. And then my imagination is he closes all his computers down and then he goes home and he has a New Year's party with his friends. And I'm like, that's a great little sweet European short film if anybody wants to make it.
Well, that could be your next one, Todd. I'm telling you, come out to South Dakota, and we'll make the the feature length version of that.
Yeah, just promise to make it X-rated.
The feature version is he does that, and then it's like an hour drive home. So that's an hour of it. It's just silence, him listening to music, and then he walks in right when the New Year's comes in. Are you an hour different or two?
We're
2, right?
1.
Okay, so it's a 2-hour drive home.
Sorry, yes.
2,
It's
yeah.
a 2-hour drive home.
Yeah.
So the movie's 2 hours long until he gets home for his New Year's.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. We're in.
Well, Todd, Tipper, thank you both for coming on and doing this. This has been so much fun. What else do you have coming out for the screening? This will drop the day after Christmas. So this is when that episode will drop. So where else can people find it if they aren't going to head out to Omaha on January 2nd?
It will be in Austria, Vienna, Austria, and then Toronto, Ontario. It'll be in Ottawa, Canada, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Omaha, Nebraska, Knoxville, Tennessee, Houston, Texas, Tampa, Florida, Ojai, California, St. Louis, Missouri, Portland, Oregon, Charlotte, North Carolina, New Orleans, Louisiana, Kansas City, Missouri, and Denver, Colorado. And that takes us to the end of February. But after that, we're going to be in more cities. And more are being lined up now. So I need to probably post this online instead of just having it on my computer here.
It might be a good idea, yeah.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.